The following events took place on or about September 17th, 2017. On the 22nd Street in West Central London lies a small antiquarian named Hipster's Needs and Niceties. It is specialized fully in obtaining the finest post-Soviet collapse art from what was to become the independent state of Tajikistan. The store is housed in an old Victorian-era small cheese production facility. It is believed to be one of the oldest of its kind. The store is filled to the brim with paintings of beans, and nothing but the paintings of beans, in all possible poses and scenes, including hardcore bean porn, clarification, porn aimed towards beans, not humans. A particular painting of which focus will shift towards later is the beans in breathless orgasms. It looks, at least to the human eye, like nothing else than brown conserved beans in a glass jar. On the metal lid is a small piece of checked linen cloth. It is a pretty disappointing and dull painting, to be clear. On this date, a person entered the store in an unusually peculiar fashion, eyewitnesses say. It was almost as if he had snapped his balls with rubber bands for about 15 minutes and wanted to throw up from the pain, an old lady states. She herself looked more like Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that was a crackhead granny version of Tigger. Regardless, it was later understood that this peculiar fashion consisted of having his scrotum superglued to the middle upper side of his thighs. Imagine walking with that. He, of course, was in great pain. He had never needed to face the dark side of humanity before, and upon being exposed to bean porn, the last remainders of his childish heart was killed. He could not believe that something as innocent as beans could be the subject for such sexual expression. He would later describe it as a pathological and deeply passionate conjunction of darkness, objectification, lust, and animalistic personality. He said that he was staring into a frozen river Styx and saw the fully liberated version of his thoughtless desires to sin. Someone, at this point in the interview, decided to call him a modern Trojan horse of gulping ass expansion bullshit. Regardless of anything that might seem to contradict the following, he actually not only managed to skedaddle his rectum around the store, but also managed to purchase this painting of beans in breathless orgasm. He afterwards went to the pub nearby, where his friends Buffalo the Bill and Kitty the Child both were waiting for him. Buffalo was a decent imitation of a Nigerian cactus, and Kitty the Child was close to 2 meters long and weighed about 110 kilos. Kitty the Child's mind consisted of will, and his body of muscles and capability. His voice was brighter than that of a newborn soprano. He was incredibly funny to spend time with. One time, Kitty the Child had apparently gone full berserk in a game of 3 in a row. The veins in his neck and face poked out like the roots of an old tree. Steam seemed to be leaving his head, and his sight was nothing but fire. Quicker than the speed of light, he had snatched the bricks off of the board and shoved half of them up his rectum and swallowed the other half. He then drank 2 liters of diesel in the blink of an eye and laid himself upon the table as if to give birth. The ground started shaking and the light started flickering. Suddenly, everything stopped. Then, the brightest, tiniest war cry ever emitted on the face of Earth emerged from him, and in the fashion of violently opening a bag of chips, the bricks left his bodily openings so fast they broke the sound barrier. The bricks shot into the wall, perfectly lining up the circles in a 3-piece row, and placed the crosses in a childlike manner around them. Kitty had played cross. His anger escalated so much it had done a full lap around and was suddenly entering the negatives. He started to shrink. He shrank down to about 2.5 decimeters and turned completely green. He was the human miniature version of Shrek. He quickly ran towards the door, did a swan-like jump through the leather slots, and disappeared into the cold September night. It was fucking lit, man. The scrotum person had just sat himself down at the bar and ordered water with vodka, when Buffalo motioned towards his large canvas bag. "Oh, I'ma let me mates see what I bought," and placed the beans in breathless orgasms on the table, and slid the canvas bag off. "Yeah, a real beauty, ain't it?" The bartender had seen the man who walked as if his scrotum was superglued to his thighs take up the canvas bag, but didn't think anything special of it, until he slid it down and exposed the beans in breathless orgasms. For a second, the bartender froze. Then he went to the door and locked it. He shut off the music and quickly gathered people's attention as they in surprise turned to him, wondering why the fattest, hottest bitches of 1637 was abruptly shut off. He spoke in a wide Scottish accent. "Me mates, fate has come to us here tonight," and ripped the beans in breathless orgasms from the scrotum-glued man's hands. Silence lasted over the crowd. "We are now the boys, my lads." This is the supposed story of how the Beany Boy Society was formed.